Virtual dating was already popular before the pandemic. Now, of course, it seems like the only way to meet someone new. Joining us from LA with her take on how much online dating has changed is our sex expert, Shan Boodram. And Shan, you've been busy, not just pushing out humans, but you might have seen her on Too Hot to Handle over on Netflix. Maybe you saw her on X-Rated with Andy Cohen, or maybe you saw her on her show, Sexology, or maybe you've been listening to her podcast, which is the only podcast I want to listen to. It's called Lovers and Friends, and it's incredible. We love that we can have you back on Cityline. You know that we see you as one of us. We're so proud of you, and this is such a fascinating topic. So let's talk about dating, girl.
You know, I was saying this to you that I'm like, when are we going to talk about us, Tracy? Actually, let me just say very rapidly that I had Sarah Landry as a guest on my podcast, and we had a complete love fest about you because we met through you, and you're just the connector of so many incredible women. You're an incredible woman. I adore you. And so I have to get off my love fest with you every time we talk. So that's done. Now let's talk about online dating. Let's do it. People are doing it. Let's go.
Let's go. Okay, so for me, I met Leo probably on the cusp, like just sort of the beginning of the online dating thing. So I don't know a lot about it, and I'm fascinated. Let's start with what has changed the most about online dating.
So in the past couple of years, we've seen the rise of virtual dating. So 1 in 4 respondents on a Bumble survey said that they are utilizing some form of digital dating, whether that be virtual dates through video or phone calls ahead of time. And it's very possible for people to actually fall in love this way.
Okay, so people are actually doing the virtual date, like they're talking and they're doing this for a prolonged period of time. At some point, they have to see each other in real life, though, right?
I do think, eventually you do get to that point, but I wish, because I did online dating, like you, I wish I got a little bit more time with it because I really enjoyed it. But what I wish was more in place was the culture of virtual dates. So rather than me investing time or money or an outfit on somebody that I just wouldn't have that connection with, like maybe we talked or we matched on paper, but in person, there was just something off. I wish that there was an opportunity just to have a phone call first or a virtual call first as a screening process. So I think it's a positive thing, but yes, it is still eventually the hope to move to in-person.
Okay, all right, that's good to know. But you can fall in love online, and this can be a real relationship. It's how most people are meeting. And I think you actually have some stats on that as well. Like a lot of people are dating this way.
Yes, there was actually about 2014 was the last time that meeting through a mutual friend was the #1 way to meet somebody romantically. And then online dating has now surpassed that. This is now the #1 way. And I don't see a world where that's going to change in the future.
Okay, all right. Well, you would call this maybe a good dating trend then, the whole virtual dating and the online world of dating. It's a good thing.
I think it's a good thing as long as exactly what you said. It's sort of the precursor to in-person intimacy. What we have seen as well, there was an IFS study that came out that said that it's actually 1 in 4 women have not had one intimate partner in the past 2 years. So because of social distancing and prioritizing our health, which is beautiful things, a lot of people have been afraid of physical intimacy or romance in general. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to see a world without touch. So I think that it is a positive thing because of the times that we've been in, but especially, Bumble, for example, has a vaccination badge where you can put right on your profile. And as people can start to align more with their healthcare values, they might feel more comfortable getting in person and getting together, but hopefully with the right people because they've been screening them through virtual dates for a little bit of time before.
Now, can we talk about bad dating trends, the stuff that just needs to go?
Yes. So you know what, Tracy, you and I actually had a semi-viral clip a few years ago where we were talking about manipulative tactics that are used in dating. And at the time that you and I were talking about them, these were fresh terms that nobody has heard. So while these are bad dating terms, I'm actually really happy that they're now becoming pop culture terms that people are aware of. So ghosting, you could ask your grandma or you could ask your kids, they probably are aware of what ghosting is, right? It's when you're dating somebody and all of a sudden they seem to drop off the face of the earth. Now, usually ghosts want to haunt you later on down the line. So ghosting is a tactic to keep you on the line without any accountability to you during periods where they don't want to be accountable to you. And people are now starting to see that and cutting people off who are flaky, who don't show up for dates or who do disappear for days on end without explanation. So it's a positive thing that these words are out there. Another word that Again, I think we discussed a couple of years ago that now is a very common word is love bombing. And that's when you meet somebody who basically gives you the rom-com treatment. So initially we might be conditioned to think this is good. All their time, all the compliments, they're doting on me hand and foot. Maybe they're sending you gifts. Their calendar is wide open to you. And before we would say, wow, that person must really like me. And now we're saying, hold on a second. This might be a sign of a love bomber who's trying to get me on the hook only to drop off and then get me in a toxic cycle.
Brutal. Okay, what would you say are the biggest mistakes people make when dating online? And I always like your perspective because it's a very positive perspective.
Do you know what people do? They don't bring their real self to it. They bring the PR person. I actually think that your Instagram is a really good example of an online dating profile. I know it's not for that, minus the husband and kids, but you show what you care about. You showing yourself doing the things that you love. Your sense of humor is on there. Yes, you show yourself dolled up, but it's still a casual photo done through your camera. You're not getting like a professional person to take these glamorous photos of you. It's just your life. It's you. And that is the number one mistake people make. They're not bringing themselves into online dating. And then they're surprised when they're meeting people who aren't exactly what they're looking for. So put the work in, show up as yourself, have your friends proofread your profile to ensure that it's the you that they know and love the most, and have fun with it. I think the number one mistake people make is by not having fun. Because at the end of the day, you're just sitting across from a complete stranger, whether virtually or on a date, who's just saying, let's just see if we have something. And yet it can get a little crazy, but the heart of it all, I think it should be fun.
Oh my gosh, I love that advice. And the way you gas me up, I just want to book you every day on the show. I love you. Great insight.
That's the whole purpose.
Great insight. Thanks, Shan. As always, we love having you with us here on Cityline. So please make sure you come back again and again and again.